if there is remotely any wind like coming right here through in this moment, yeah, that was pretty serendipitous. I had to pay extra for those VFX. What's up YouTube fam, Robbie C here. Today we're going to talk about a disc that is relatively new to the market, and that is the MVP glitch. Unlike Vanellope Von Sweets, this glitch has not been received with ridicule, but for lots of people it has received a lot of praise. And as someone who currently bags a lid type throw and catch disc, I want to take just a couple moments to compare this to two other popular lid type discs that people are out there throwing and talk about what are the pros and cons of the glitch specifically, and do I think it should earn a spot in your bag. So without further ado, let's jump on in. For this video, we're going to be comparing the glitch to one of my favorites, which is the Polecat, and another crowd favorite, which is the Sonic. I want to start by talking about hand feel of this disc versus the other two, and that is that the glitch actually feels very similar to sort of a normal disc that you would be throwing in your round. Something that the Polecat and the Sonic get absolutely blasted for is the wall type rim of this disc, which can feel very different in your hand. And if you're a fan grip type thrower for these type of discs, the depth of the Polecat or the Sonic can really get in your way when it comes to being able to throw this disc clean and smooth. The glitch still does have a very wall-like rim, but it's a little more rounded on the outside as opposed to the flatness of the Polecat, which means that it is going to feel a lot more comfortable in your hand, which can be a huge win for a lot of people. Another pro of the glitch is that it comes in this soft neutron plastic, which is a premium plastic. The Polecat is most commonly found in the DX plastic, and the Sonic is most commonly found non-existent, as this mold is very tough to come across, but more often than not it comes in the star plastic as opposed to older runs where it was in the DX or base plastic. So for the average player, when it comes to hand feel and plastic durability, I think the glitch wins out over these two discs. But where I think the glitch falls short is in what weights it comes available. The initial release and run of the glitch came in at heaviest, I believe, 160 grams. Could be totally wrong on that one, internet. You let me know. That was the heaviest I saw. Whereas the Polecat and the Sonic do come available in max weight options. Once again, the Sonic is harder to find, so the only one I have is in max weight, but this purple Polecat is actually 150 grams, which is going to compare very closely to the 143 gram glitch that we have for this video. So as someone who throws a lot of heavier stuff, I'm always hesitant to suggest lighter weight things to people, because often when we put that lighter weight disc in our hand, we can believe in our minds that we need to rip it or crush it because it's supposed to go farther because it's lighter weight. Often this leads to us yanking over on the disc and getting less consistent results out of those lighter weight discs. So if you don't already throw lighter weight discs, this could be a huge drawback for you. Now obviously we want to do more than just hold our discs, we want to throw them. So what shots is the glitch actually designed for? This category can be a little ambiguous and depend on what level of skill you're at, or also how aggressive you're looking to be while you're out there on the course. I've talked about it in another video, but this type of disc is fantastic for playing catch to warm up and get your body loose before your round actually begins. Rather than firing off shot after shot after shot and getting yourself ready for those max distance rips at all time, I believe you're going to gain more strokes by having that touch up shot dialed, which is what you can practice by using this glitch or a Polecat or a Sonic to warm up while you're out there during the round. Also, while you're on the course, if you think about your friend as the basket or the basket as your friend, however you want to use that transitive property, you can think about how you threw the disc to them during warm up, and hopefully they didn't have to move that often, which gives you a much higher chance of ringing up the shot when you find yourself at that tweener distance between a putt and a throw. Maybe you find yourself currently wishing that you had 25 to 30 extra feet, because if you had that, there would be a ton of shots or holes that would open up to you and you'd actually be able to give yourself a decent birdie look at them. That's where I think a lid type disc like the glitch comes in huge to help give you some scoring ability that you didn't have before. I talked about it in Vlogmas last year, but the flick of the wrist upshot that I have practiced a lot over this past year allows you to throw a sort of nose up floaty approach at the basket, which gives you a chance to throw the disc directly at the basket for a chance for it to go in. But if you miss, most often you're only going to be 15 to 20 feet past the basket at worst. The glitch boasts a 7 glide, and I think that is absolutely true on this disc. Once you get it in the air and get it spinning, it just wants to sail for days. Which takes us to the third category of why you'd want a disc like this, and that is short tee shots. I don't think that you should be looking to throw a glitch, Polecat, or Sonic on a 350 foot hole. Even if you had the arm to do so, the one speed nature of the disc and the natural understability of the disc means that it's not going to be reliable, especially when going for those large distances. And with the lightweight nature of the glitch, I started to see a problem with this mold for my game specifically. The base plastic Polecat was the most likely to turn over when thrown with a lot of power, and I think that has to do with both the weight and the plastic type, which makes it not necessarily designed for max distance or power shots. And depending on the stage of wear and tear that you have that Polecat in, you can still get some pretty solid stability out of that disc. The Sonic, even though it's in premium plastic, has an extremely thin wall, which makes it very difficult to put a lot of power into the disc, because I feel like when you inject that power and that spin into the Sonic, it almost separates it and folds that wall out a little bit, and the thinness of the flight plate, it just also isn't designed for those max distance rips, which is okay because it excels at that short upshot or short tee shot that we were talking about before. The glitch gives you a best of both worlds because often when you get it high enough due to the 7 glide, it's actually going to find a decent amount of stability. But also because it has 7 glide, if it gets off its line at all, it is often going to sail off into infinity and never have any hopes or dreams of coming back, which can make it extremely unreliable on tee shot. Now, I do think that there's a problem when we teach most people how to throw a disc, and that is we teach them how to throw a disc, not spin a disc. And I think a disc like the glitch or these lid type frisbees in general are really good at helping solve that issue. Stop me if you've seen this before or seen someone teach how to throw a disc like this.
Yeah, so what you're about to do right here is you're about to get on that tee box right there. I want you to take the disc, put it behind you, and then I want you to start the lawnmower, pull it straight through on a straight line as hard as you can, get it right behind you, and then pull it through and then yeet it right on the distance. You know what I'm saying, Ian Anderson? Yeet that disc.
Now, that dramatization is not made to make fun of anyone. It is a very common way that people try to teach others how to throw a disc, but it is fundamentally wrong. The physics of discs and frisbees are designed to be spun. The more that they're spinning and the faster that they're spinning generally is going to cause them to stay in the air longer and allow them to fly how they are designed to fly. So when we think about throwing a disc, rather than thinking all about the throw, we need to be thinking about how to spin the disc. And that is where a disc like the glitch actually shines in a major way. Often when we think of that flick of the wrist upshot, we can think that it's a super soft toss rather than a full-on commitment of the shot. Yet if you give it that soft toss, 9 times out of 10, it is not going to fly as intended, and you're not going to get that point and shoot desired shot that you hear about so often with these types of discs. So in order to get a disc like the glitch or the Polecat or the Sonic to fly as intended, you have to sort of commit on the shot and put some power behind it and trust that the 1-speed action of this disc isn't going to float forever past the basket. But I think that that kind of shot and that mentality actually helps elevate us to that next level of our game when we start realizing that we can put power and commitment behind our shots and our upshots and know that we have the confidence, abilities, and skill to make that 20-foot comeback putt, especially if we give it a chance to throw it in the first place. So knowing that I believe that there's value in having a disc like this in your bag, which of these discs is going to win out for me? I'm going to start with my least favorite up to my most favorite, and I hope you don't hate me, Wes, for starting with this one, but my least favorite is indeed going to be the Halo Sonic. This is a true fastback disc with an incredibly unique hand feel. It reminds me a lot of those discs that you get like when you go to a convention and they like stamp their name on the front of the disc. It's obviously a much higher quality version of that. With this unique hand feel, you're going to know pretty instantaneously when you play around with it or play catch with it whether this is for you, and sadly it's just not for me, but I'm stoked for all of you out there throwing the Sonic, and I hope you love it and get all the throwing that you want. Looking at you, Double G. Next up is going to be the glitch. I think, like I said, the glitch is a very fantastic disc that a lot of you should check out and get a hold of, especially if you're a gyro fan. But the drawback for it is going to be that super lightweight. If there is remotely any wind like it's coming right here through in this moment, like I said before, when you want to see this disc fly like it's supposed to, you have to fully commit and put a little bit of power and oomph behind the shot. And with it being lighter weight, it is going to be tossed around by the wind considerably. So even on those shorter touch upshot, it's going to be a lot less reliable because it is so lightweight, and you have to fully commit to get that straight laser pointed shot. Which means that at number 1, B is an option that we didn't talk about necessarily, and that is beating in a disc that isn't a lid type disc. Now, obviously, I've done this with my pig. This flies nothing like a pig that you would traditionally see off the shelf, and I'm not even saying that you need to do this with a pig or even an overstable putt and approach disc. There's an obvious benefit to this because a disc with this extra stability at the start is never going to be a disc that turns all the way over, but for these touch floaty upshots, it does require more power and more commitment to the line in order to even get it to turn over, because this disc, even as beat in as it is never going to be as understable as any of the other options that we have here today. The two perks of beating in a disc though that aren't a lid type Frisbee is that if you already throw a lot of that mold in general, there's going to be a lot of that subconscious confidence when you grab this disc and pick it up, because most of the time that you're throwing these lid type discs are when it's clutch and you need that extra clutch factor or save out of your game. The other added benefit to that is that if you don't like the feel of any of these lid type rims or things like that, you can always get more used to a normal type disc, and I would suggest getting it in a medium or soft plastic and then just beating it into unrecognizable state so that it has that nice soft floaty feel. You can do this with any putter mold of your choice. It just takes a little time and effort, and the more overstable it is to start, the more you're gonna have to beat it in to get it to fit this slot at all. Which means last but not least, our true winner is going to be the Polecat. I love the Polecat, which means in the true #1 slot is going to be the Polecat. This is a very unique rim as well, in a similar vein as the Sonic, but I have thrown this a lot and gotten really used to it myself, which makes me incredibly biased towards this disc. Another thing that I really love about the Polecat is something we've talked about a lot during this video, and that is that if you want that super easy flight, you can get a lightweight DX Polecat, but that's obviously going to be less reliable in the wind, which is part of the strikes that we gave against the glitch. So you can always step up to a heavier DX Polecat, and if that's still not enough stability for you, you can move to a Halo plastic Polecat or a premium Polecat coming in the Star or Champion variety. There are a lot more Polecats being made now because there's a definite resurgence to the beauty of this mold. I do warn you with a premium Polecat or the premium live type putters in general that they do start out pretty overstable, so it takes some definite getting used to and beating in of the disc to have it turn into that reliable, understable option that you were looking for in that lid type Frisbee to begin with. The Polecat gang is always looking for new members, so you should definitely check it out and let me know if you're looking to join. So in the end, the results probably come as no surprise about which one I wanted to end up sticking with or keeping in my bag, but I still think the glitch has a phenomenal place in the game, and I'm stoked to see companies start to realize the value and effectiveness of having a disc like this in their lineup. Especially for those of you who are super brand loyal, I hope that every single company comes out with a disc like this. But I have two questions for you that I'd love to hear your answers in the comments below. The first is, do you bag a lid type disc in your bag? And the second is, if yes, you do bag one, which one are you bagging and what do you love about it that keeps it in your bag? As always, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in and so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, thanks for checking us out. I hope you enjoyed the video. My hope for each and every one of you watching is that you start finding the accuracy that you're looking for, and that you have an amazing rest of the week, and that you can hopefully make it incredible for someone else too. But for now, I'm gonna leave you with the birdie.